Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to spooky season. Wow. I owe people a rune reading, and stuff has happened in the Amberverse, so I thought maybe now would be a good time to do that. So what I want to do is a totally different setup because I'm starting to get really aggravated over the fact that I cannot get a decent camera angle on the runes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast them, and then I'm going to take a picture, and then I'm going to put the picture up in the box here. Then we're going to use that picture. My camera switched itself. I'm going to use that picture for the reading. It'll be the reading. I hope that makes sense. We still have our little baggie of runes. These are still the runes that I made specifically for doing this. So these are YouTube runes. And I know the last time we did a reading, the runes were kind of hinting at the fact that both Nubu and Amber were lying to each other. Like they were both lying. Yeah, they're lying to each other. So I know that. But I kind of want to know a little bit about why. I mean, I can speculate on why, and that's all it's going to be anyway. It's just speculation. But I also want to ask about the move. I know a lot of people are convinced it's not going to happen. I'm in the camp that it is going to happen. I'm very interested to see how it's going to happen. But Kicking Gaze has done a couple tarot card pulls for the move, and every time she's done that, it's said that Amber's not going to move, or that Amber's going to have some kind of complication. And I've been saying there's going to be some kind of complication on the move as well. So I want to see if I can get some clarification on that. Because I've also been getting runes that have been saying that there's going to be some kind of like health issue as well. So, but that hasn't come around yet. So, you know, they're runes, man. This is all for entertainment purposes. So, let's start off with Nubu, just because I don't think that one's going to take very long, and that one's just going to be like a quick toss. So, let's start with Nubu. So, tell us about this woman that has left Amber's life and maybe the circumstances around why. And because you can do that, is there someone else in the wing, or is this a true breakup? Because that's another thing that I've heard. So tell us about Nubu. Is this breakup real? Is there someone else? All right, so we are back, and this is our lovely picture. And I would like to say that even though I took a damn picture of it, it still came out blurry. So bear with me and my anger. Anyway. All right, so this is a question about Nubu. What happened? What's going on? That kind of a thing. So let's look at this and see what's going on here. And you should be able to see my pointer. Yes, excellent. All right, so first things first, we gotta be looking at the center, and this is actually the center of the disc. It was actually the direct center of the disc. So I think it's kind of interesting that pretty much, excuse me, pretty much everything that's in the very center of the deal is completely blank. So there's like, it's almost as if there's like no details about the woman. No inner details, okay? Like, how do I explain that one? Like she's hiding her inner self, okay? So, and now we've got Tiwaz, we've got Othla. I don't pronounce these correctly if you haven't figured that one out yet. Proth, Radio here. And I think it's interesting. These almost radiate out almost. If you notice, there's almost like a spiral radiating out off of this dude here. And then, yeah, like kind of like here's one little spiral, here's another little spiral, and then there's like these guys. Kind of, and they kind of come off here if you were to like... Anyway, they all seem to be radiating from the center, which I think is an interesting pattern for them to have fallen into. So that's, I think, a curious. Anyway, so going off of that, the stuff on the outer rings is the outer world. It's the outer guard. The world itself at large. And it can be outer influences on the individual, but since these start so tight and then radiate out, I think this is the influence of the individual on the outer guard. This dude over here, this is Manaz. Manaz represents man or people. Man in his mirth is dear to his kin. So it's like the individual human. But it can also mean like humanity as a whole. The word man in Old Norse actually meant both women and men. It meant people. It is where we get the word man, but it didn't mean male. It meant everyone. Just, you know, keeping that in mind. Excuse me, sniffing. I still have like this much of a cold. So our first little radiating arm here that I want to look at is the Tiwas to Othla to Parath to Radio to Berkana. And there's a big jump from Radio to Berkana, so that one could be argued, but I'm going to keep it. So we've got like this is a guidance. This is divine guidance, staying on our true path, that kind of a thing. And it's, you know, pointing at the other spiral, so that's kind of interesting. We've got Othla, which is a rune of tradition and home and following like a traditional setting, a traditional path, that kind of a thing. It's following the rules, whatever those might be. This is one that I almost always look at as like a peer group or a knowledgeable peer group, or and the peer group doesn't necessarily mean a peer to the persons. It's just the people within the group are all peers and they are all knowledgeable. But it can also mean kind of like, random chance, kind of like, well, it's the birth hall. Like, it's very specifically the birth hall, and the concept of like new beginnings, birth, and that kind of thing. But back in the day, you didn't really know what the person was going to be like until after they were born. You didn't know what gender they even were until after they were born. You didn't know anything about them other than there was a person incubating inside of there. So it can, in that aspect, represent like a mystery, or possibly like just the rolling of a dice or something like that, And then we've got radio, which very specifically is about journeys and planning the journey, and the toll of the journey on the individual. So, and now we're reporting also here to Berkana, which is Berkana for me is a rune of inner transformation. It's like the outer representation of the inner self. Like, it is the birch tree. It creates no seeds, but yet still has healthy looking leaves through, when it's in bloom. Implying that the birch tree reproduces itself from itself, if that makes sense. It's an amoeba tree. So I think this is an interesting little spiral here, because we've got, guidance. We've got these two very traditional, we got these two runes that, if working together, can mean that, you're finding guidance from a traditional area or from a home path. It could be the home itself. And this doesn't mean travel. It just means like guidance. And so there seems to be maybe some guidance going on that's coming out of a traditional path or a home setting, possibly. which kind of would make sense because, again, we don't know a whole lot about this girl, but... And that could be why we've got this doodad here is, you know, we're just like, she's random. We don't know a whole lot about her. And I don't know how much people are going to try to find things out about her. And I don't want people to do that. So please don't. But we do have like this guidance, this concept of like tradition. It's possible that there's like a peer group that she's getting this advice from. They're definitely speaking of the journey, and the journey can be difficult, and that could be what's happening here. You know, we're speaking about the difficulty of this journey. It's a non-traditional relationship if you want to interpret it that way. We're not even going to go into like the very complicated concepts of homosexuality in Old Norse because it is very complicated. So there's that. But, you know, it's in modern day setting, it's not necessarily considered a traditional family unit, I guess. Maybe I'm stretching here. And maybe that's what's going on. I doubt it, though. And then we've got this here. We've just got like this rune about like inner purpose, inner power, inner representation of the self. And maybe that's it. Maybe this girl's getting some words of wisdom from her home setting, and it's basically saying that you don't know enough about this person. Maybe they were trying to move in together. I wouldn't doubt that at all. So maybe they were trying to move in together, or were talking about the possibility of moving in together, and this girl's getting like advised, she's being advised not to do that because it's not necessarily beneficial to her personal self, to her own development. Especially with Mana's like all the hell the way out here. Mana's like bailed from this reading. It was just like boink. So that was kind of interesting to me. So on the second arm here, that this rune it's like pointing towards it. So we've got Gabo, which is it's a rune of gifting and a rune of acceptance, accepting gifts, not like accepting your situation. It's of like accepting a gift from a person, but it represents like the divine concept of give and take. You know, I gift you with a thing, and a gift ever looks after a gift, meaning like if I give you something, it is implied that you are going to give me something back. Maybe not in that exact moment, but later on down the road. So there's that. Why does it do this? Stop it. This Gabo, it's linked to Dagaz. Dagaz is the divine message of the day. It's new beginnings, but it's also endings. It's the day. It's not the sun. It's the day. The day and the sun are two separate entities. So this is the divine message from the gods about the day. It's usually a very positive message. It usually means like something good is either coming into your life, or perhaps something bad is ending. We've got Ansus here, which is interpreted a lot of times as being the rune of Odin. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it goes back to the whole concept of the divine breath. Odin breathed into the first humans the divine breath, but it's not just air. It's not that we are breathing. It is the concept of sentience, basically. This whole thing, like the body itself isn't the issue. Our heart beating was not it. It's the brain and all of that goodness, and the ability to create words, specifically words, the spoken word. So we get that. We've got Iwaz. Yes, Iwaz over here. Iwaz represents the horse. And it's kind of like showing off the horse. It does talk a bit about how, you know, travel is hard on the horse, and it is, but it's also talking about how people would basically get up on their high horses and go have big conversations with each other and like, oh, look at my horse, it's so awesome, and now we're really important and we're going to talk to each other, kind of a thing. To link it to modern day, it's like a car show. But it does it does boil down to that this is like transportation, the ability to move, the actual physical container that moves you. You can interpret it to be like an inner journey kind of a thing, but that really comes back to radio over here. This is talking about the vehicle itself. And then we've got Fihu, which it directly translates into money, but there's also the concept of giving charitably, and it can go either way of like, you know, you're giving charitably because you are a good person, or you could also be giving charitably because you want to look like you're a good person. You want to get brownie points. So, but it also means like wealth in general or prosperity. So we've got this second arm here going on. Excuse me. So we've got this concept of gifting, giving, and taking, and this can like with Amber, a lot of times I translate it as very toxic because it can be. You can manipulate the gift. Like, I can give you a gift knowing full well you don't have the ability to pay me back, but now you're indebted to me, right? So that's the kind of thing that can happen here. We do have this divine message, and we do have Ansus together. So we've got these two together that are very, very specific. There's like a verbal message, either a written message or a verbal message that is inspiring and potentially, well, I mean, it can represent ends. So maybe there's something that Amber said or did specifically, like maybe they were texting a lot. This could be texting. And like I said, this also represents endings. So we've got this here. So maybe there's some kind of like manipulation of gifts, or there was a suggestion that was going to happen during the texting that caused this to stop, because we know timeline wise the breakup with this girl that she's been seeing for 3 weeks, we know that occurred either the same day as the live or the day after the live. And since Amber doesn't sleep, it's entirely possible it happened at midnight. Who knows? But we've also got this conversation going on about, you know, a vehicle, a transportation vehicle, some kind of like physical movement, which, given the situation, I'm willing to say it has something to do with the move, or maybe it could also have to do with the person who's offering to get Amber from point A to point B to her new apartment. We know she's traveling over state lines, and she said she's traveling so far. A lot of talk about her going out to the West Coast. We'll see. Oh, Oklahoma's not in the West Coast. Well, it's kind of near the West Coast. I went to public school. I have no fucking clue where Oklahoma is. That's the one that looks like a pan, right? Anyway, completely lost my train of thought. All right, so we've got this could be the actual vehicle that Amber might have been planning to use. And since it's so far out and it is attached to this girl, maybe they were talking about her being Amber's ride, especially if they were talking about moving in together, which you know they probably were. So I'm very willing to believe that there's some kind of talk of cohabiting. Anyway, especially with Gabo here, you know, and then this all comes back to Fihu, which, when tied back to the vehicle, could suggest something like, it could be something simple like gas money. Like maybe Amber's like, sure, I'll pay you gas money. Or it could be Amber's going to have to pay someone to move them and was offering that to this woman. And this woman was going to be her alternative form of transportation to her new place. Okay. So over here in this little doodaddy here, we've got Kinaz, which is a rune of enlightenment. It's a rune of knowledge, and it's specifically a rune of sharing knowledge as well. And then we've got Algaze here, which is Elk Sedge. And I actually saw Elk Sedge today for the first time ever. It's actually a Reid. Interesting, you learn something new every day. And Algaze is warning you about grabbing hold of something painful, and that it burns the blood of any who grabs a hold of it, and it's indiscriminate about who it injures. But it's also it's a warning rune. A lot of people say this is a protection rune. I'm not entirely sure where we get that from, other than like everybody was using it as like the peace sign back in the day, but I don't know why. For me, this is a warning sign, and since it's connected to Kinaz, when I see Kinaz in relationship to another rune, it typically means that it's something that the person is aware of, or the person has been, or it has been brought to the attention of the person. So yeah, going back to this here with this Kinaz with the rune here, I mean, maybe this girl must have seen red flags, like big red flags, and was like, nah, I'm out. Especially since we could connect this to here. Again, going back to the gifting, you could say this is like a love bomb. So this could be anything from an actual gift to maybe emotional gifting, an emotional gift. Giving of yourself emotionally to another person is a gift, because it is also, it's labor. Is that kind of a thing. So yeah, this is a warning rune. Something bad's gonna happen. It's gonna sting, and this person is aware of it. And see, this is within like this is the outer ring here. So yeah, inner ring, outer ring. This would be like the middle ring here. So yeah, I'm almost positive this girl saw some kind of red flag, probably specifically out of Amber's behavior. And that's probably why she backed off, I would say. Yeah. This is interesting just because this is interesting to me just because of just the implications of like transportation and money. Maybe the girl was going to come out to Amber and doesn't have the funds to do it, or didn't have the funds to do it, and maybe she asked Amber for them. It's entirely possible. And that could have been, we can also, it could be that Amber saw red flags too. I know a lot of people think that she's like incredibly naive, but I don't. On the one hand, I think she is, and on the other hand, I think a lot of it's an act. So there's that. Definitely there was something said or something was written down that directly has something to do with a give and take kind of a situation. And as closely related as this is to this, I mean, you could say this is a cluster. I'm going to say that might be the red flag, because this is kind of all linked. You could say that that's the red flag this girl saw and was like, nah, man, I'm out. You could say that. You could say a lot of things. This is very interesting to me, though. This is like transportation and money. This is like paying like a bus ticket or an airplane ticket, or it could even be like someone's giving it to you, like someone's gonna buy it for you. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe there was an offer to buy transportation. Maybe. So yeah, there's some kind of traditional guidance going on here. I'm willing to bet there was something said at the home, from the home of the new person, because there's definitely, like I said, this is guidance. This is traditionally the home and traditions. So we've got a peer group here, a knowledgeable peer group, usually an older peer group, that I'm so closely related to this. I'm just gonna say like this is definitely like an older group of people, or a trusted group of people that are close to home for her, telling her something specifically telling her not to or to do something specific. But then there's like this, it's pointing directly at this, so it has something to do with the movement or the transportation situation type deal, which would explain why this guy's all the way over here by himself, for the most part. I mean, yeah, we can say that, but the journey, the actual journey, it's over here by itself. It's kind of pointing towards this concept of inner power. It doesn't necessarily mean strength. It just means that, like, you have the ability to grow and change within you already, you know? So it's a very internal rune. A lot of times people use this as like a birthing rune. They for some reason think that this means birth. I'm not entirely sure why that one happens either. If we go with that, you know, it's not the concept of birth as in a literal child. It could be like a project or just something significant that you are responsible for creating. It is you creating something, and it's connected to this journey specifically. And I just think that someone has told her that this journey is just not a great idea for her. So I'm gonna interpret this. This is me interpreting. Again, this can be interpreted a bunch of different ways, and if people have other interpretations, feel free to share, politely. But I'm gonna say that this girl has mentioned it to somebody within the home base. The home base was like, no, that's not a great idea. I think if the person had gone through with this, whatever this was, this trip, I think it would have ended up with them being isolated away from the home, the home base. Yeah. And again, it's relatively close to this knowledge of a bad situation, bad idea. So yeah, so I don't think the girl wanted to move that far away from whatever her home base is. I don't think she wanted to be isolated. And yeah, so, and then we've got Gabo here, which is specifically talking about giving and taking. It can be toxic gifting. It could be positive gifting too. Last time this popped up within the reading with Amber, I was like, this is Amber offering to take care of the person financially. And so that could just be a continuance of that idea. And maybe Amber was trying to get that in writing. Maybe she was trying to put the girl on the contract for the apartment, and she didn't want that as possible, because that could be seen as a very toxic gift, especially if it's something that you don't have the ability to pay for. And then this little cluster over here, someone's offering or asking for finances to actually physically move, to physically go from point A to point B. It could be something like, buy me a car, buy me a plane ticket. I'm gonna come get you in. You can pay for the gas. That kind of a thing. Mana is completely bailing. Mana is completely bailing tells me that the social group, or even the individual, well, you know, she did break up. They did break up. Manas can represent an individual, and I mean, it bailed from the reading. I'm gonna guess the girl bailed from the relationship. Maybe that's what it's telling us, is that, like, it wasn't a gentle breakup. The girl was just like out. So that would be pretty funny, actually. It's not just being part of the rune reading. It's demonstrating physically how this relationship ended. It's like, boing! Anyway. Okay. So now that we've been talking about the move, let's actually ask about the move. I'm interested to see what's going on with the move, just because Kicking Geese has been getting these readings that are saying that the move isn't going to happen, and I've been getting messages from the runes that this move is going to have complications, unforeseen complications in it. So between the two of us, the move is looking precarious. So let us ask about the move. What is going on with the move? What is going on with the move? And is it possible to discern anything about where she might be going? I don't know if I can do that one, but we'll definitely give it a shot. All right. So many of these are just like jumping out. I must be dropping them from too high. I'm gonna put you over here. The fact that Joy is the one that bailed. You can't see these yet. Let me take a picture and I'll put it up and then we'll discuss what's going on here. Okay, so this is the reading about the move itself. And right off the bat, we've got Haglaz right here in the dead center. And every time I've asked about this move, this rune has popped up. Haglaz is a hailstone, and it immediately talks about like destruction. It's the destructive hailstone that comes out of nowhere, wipes out your crops, puts dents in your car. That kind of crap. But there's a second half to the verse that talks about how the white seeds melt and prepare the ground, basically, for something to come out of it. So it's destruction that leads to something, usually something positive. Okay, so that caught my eye right off the bat, and it's connected to Gabo again, which is a rune of gifting, and it can be good or bad, but yeah, there's something's going to go wrong. I keep getting that. Something is going to go wrong. Wunjo here is actually, it hopped out the plate, it jumped off the plate, but it was face up, so if it had been face down I wouldn't have bothered with it, but it was face up. It popped off, which Wunjo has one meaning, and it's just joy. So yeah, that bad boy was like, I'm out. She gets a lot of runes that just kind of flee. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, so this is not going to be happy. This is going to be bad. So, all right, let's look at the rest of these now. So we've got those together. So sorry about all the coughing. Manas has joined the chat again, though, and it's over here by itself. It is kind of blocked off. Alright, we've got Kinaz over here all by its lonesome. We've got Uruz here. She gets Uruz a lot. I'm gonna cut that part out. She gets Uruz a lot, and I find that interesting, too. We've got Ihaz over here again. Again, this is the vehicle itself. Inguz is the god Ing. I usually translate it as like blazing your own trail and expecting things to follow after you, because that's immediately what it talks about. You know, he talked about the great hero Ing who went over to the east and his chariot followed after, implying that he was walking out in front of everything, and the rest of his world followed after him. We've got Nathus here, though. Nathus represents needs. And they're needs that if you take care of them, don't become issues. But if you ignore them, they are potentially disastrous. And then we've got Zwalu here, which is the sun. And it talks about how it's a joy to see. It's something that the sailors are happy to see after basically surviving a stormy night at sea. So it's the light at the end of the tunnel, basically. Okay, so we've got Manaz over here all by its lonesome. We've got Zwallow over here all by her lonesome. The sun's female in Nordic traditions. They are within this little barrier here, so... And so is someone going to come and rescue her? Or someone's going to come and rescue this move? Because we are asking about the move. It could also potentially be, I said, can we get an idea of where they're moving, where she's moving to? Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot. Somehow I completely missed this little group here. This is Ihaz, the other one that I continuously mess up with this one because their names are literally one letter apart. Anyway, this is a yew tree, but it is the yew tree, and the yew is very important. It was a very important tree. Bows were made out of it, weapons were made from it, but it was also used as support pillars within the homestead. It was considered a very sturdy, reliable wood. So usually when I see this, I see it as like, you are the support beam, you are setting down roots, you are becoming reliable, that kind of a thing. And then there's Lagos here, which talks about basically water being terrifying if you don't plan, if you take an unsteady ship out onto the stormy seas, basically. So, remember, this dude's not here. This dude's actually off the plate. All right, so let's start trying to make some sense out of this. Remember, the outer realm is influences coming in from or going out of. We've got this immediately right here in the center. Something's going wrong. Something's going to go wrong. This could be saying that Amber was expecting someone to be a support to her that turned out to not be, or is going to turn out to not be. This is not a rune that represents the home, so we're not talking about... the next thing that popped into my head was like the apartment. She thinks she's got the apartment, but that's not what this rune represents. So I don't want to go there. I think it's more she's thinking she can depend on something or someone specifically, and that's not gonna end up being true. That might actually be the source of whatever the hell this is going to end up being, because this is, I always liken this to the Tower card in tarot because it's what a lot of people already know. It's just the concept of a very sudden, disastrous occurrence. Unlike the Tower card, I think there's not a positive to the end of the Tower card. The Tower card's just like boom. This one is something positive comes out of it. The fact that it's like linked almost directly to Gabo. Maybe she's accepted something. She's accepted help from someone. This one's kind of buttoned this one up. Maybe she's like accepting help from somebody. And it's could be radiating out. Because this is on the outer realm. So this is something coming into the sphere. We've got Zwallow over here. So it could be accepting help from someone else. This is going to be, if this is someone, this isn't the same person. If that makes sense. This is a person. This could be a person. We've got Uruz over here. Heglaz is, again, directly lined up with it. I'm still calling some kind of health issue. I'm still thinking there's going to be something. Is it going to be something real? We never know. Kana's being all over here by its lonesome. It kind of like somebody or some outside source of knowledge. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be Dr. Google or just Google, the University of Google. But some outside source of knowledge or enlightenment is going to come into her sphere. It's not inside the inner sphere, though. I mean, I can draw a direct line there, but you can draw a line between any 2 points, so you gotta, like, think about it. It is interesting that there's, like, a triangle going on, but... Again, I can make a triangle out of any 3 points. So... Alright, so this little cluster here is interesting to me because, again, this is always a need that is... It's a need. You know about the need. Or it will make itself known. Because you can't heed something you don't know about. So this is something that is needed that she will be aware of, and it's a toss-up if she's going to listen to it or not. Again, we've got the actual physical transport itself and this whole idea of blazing a trail out ahead of everything else. So it sounds like she's gonna get there, wherever there is, before the rest of everything else, before her stuff, basically. She's kind of already said that. And I was like, why would that happen? I've had a couple people in the comment section say that, like, that kind of thing has happened to them, but they moved, like, a long distance. So maybe she's just moving a very long distance and her crap's just not going to get there before her. Or with her. It's going to come after she gets there, which, again, she's already said. So I guess this is just backing that up. Yeah. This person's interesting. I want to know who this person is. I want to know if this is connected. Because it could be. Could be connected. This dude could just be hanging out by himself too. This can be the concept of arrogance. And it's not immediate. I'm trying to point out the actual physical outer realm of the dish that this gets cast into. This is more inside the inner part of the dish. So if the dead center is Amber, and this is the outside world, then this is Amber's world. And she could just be, like, being herself. Which, why wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna call this. Again, if you have a different interpretation, I'm happy to see or hear it in the comment section. Just be nice. I do think that I think she's gonna get there before her stuff, and I think she's gonna need something out of her stuff. So this is a potential discomfort for her. If she really is getting there before, like, a bed gets there or Pillow Mountain gets there, she's going to be really uncomfortable because I just don't see Amber sleeping on the floor. I have slept on the floor and I was heavier when I did it, but I've never been her size, and sleeping on the floor is uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable, especially if you don't have anything else with you. But I'm reading this as being a separation from her stuff that she needs. So, and since it's so sectioned off, I don't think whoever this is going to come in and solve this issue. something's going to go wrong. This is, I think, this is relying on something that isn't necessarily reliable. This is putting your faith into something that you probably shouldn't put your faith into. It's like stepping onto the bridge that definitely can't support your weight, and you walk out onto it anyway. Because you're convinced that it can support you, even though it's very clear that it cannot. So this is something that she's putting... This is something she's expecting to be able to rely on, possibly even as like not necessarily a physical support, though it could be that, but even it could just be like an emotional support as well. This is why I'm like, this could be a person. But whatever it is that she's trying to get to support her is not, it's not going to work. And not only is it not going to work, it's going to be very clear to everyone else that it's not going to work. All right. I'm still puzzling this one over because of the gabo. I think whatever this disaster is, somebody's going to step in. I think this is somebody stepping in. Amber almost always gets Zualo. Almost always. I don't think I've done a casting yet where she hasn't gotten this rune and this rune. And this rune is always a light at the end of the tunnel kind of a rune. This is a victory rune. And this rune almost always has to do with health or attitude or strength. She always gets these two. I think something's going to happen and someone's going to step in and help. The fact that there's such a gap here makes me wonder if whoever it is that's coming in as the potential help may not get there right away. And since we've got Gabo here, it might be something... It may not be someone doing it out of like the kindness of their heart. It could be that she's like enticing someone to help or trading something for the help, if that makes sense. Like whatever it is that goes down, she asks someone to come in and help, and that person does, and it ends up working out. But I think there's going to be a gap. I think there's going to be a gap there. These two are puzzling me. These two are puzzling me because they're just not connected to anything else, really. But this outer realm, there's some kind of knowledge. There's some kind of knowledge hovering outside of her immediate world. Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? I don't know. It could be a moment of enlightenment that occurs during or after the move. Especially since it's on the outer realm. It could be something that like happens after the move begins. I don't see it affecting the actual move. It would be clustered with something. And then Uru's there. It's just, it really is kind of isolated. I could connect it with Haglaz. I could connect it with the support too. My neighbors are awake. But it's really just kind of hanging out by its own. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let it hang. It could just, because it's within Amber's realm, it could just be talking about her arrogance or just her attitude. I shouldn't assign that to her. It could just be her attitude. It could be physical fortitude as well. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's saying that this is going to be a very physical event for Amber, which I'm sure it's going to be. I mean, I can speculate on that pretty clearly, but maybe it's just kind of reinforcing that idea that this is going to be a trial for her, a physical trial of strength and fortitude. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. You know, this is again within her world. This is from the outside. Maybe she's gonna have one of her epiphanies. Maybe that's what we're looking at here. This guy, though, I cannot repeat this strong enough. This guy bailed. Hopped right off the plate. I kind of wish I was recording it. I'm sorry I didn't. But this rune means joy. And that joy was just like, nope. It was kind of like Manez from earlier. So there's that. This is not Nubu. This is not a new person. I don't know if this person might have been, but since I keep asking about the move, this is more what's going to happen when the move is in full swing, like when the move is happening. This isn't leading up to it. I am convinced she's going to move. I don't think it's going to work out the way Amber thinks it's going to work out. Like right now she's all sunshines and rainbows because she doesn't really know what she's doing, and that could potentially be the problem. And that might be what this is. She has no idea what she's doing right now. And if Feline wasn't there to help her out, she wouldn't have even known how to look for an apartment, let alone find the apartment. So, and I don't know, she just went through that so fast. It just seems odd. But, and I know that's why a lot of people are like, oh, it's not real. We'll find out. We'll find out. So there's that. I'm very interested to know what this is going to be, because this has popped up every single time I've asked about the move. So something bad is going to happen. Yeah, and it's not going to have a happy ending. I don't think she's going to be homeless or anything. I just don't think she's going to be happy with the outcome. I mean, she's going to have to suck it up because it is what it is, you know. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a not so harmonious move. I'm seeing her relying on someone or something. Possibly something. Maybe she thinks that could be the apartment. Maybe she thinks she's got everything locked down and she doesn't. That sounds right. Someone is going to step in for some reason and is going to help out. And that's going to turn things around. But I think that person's going to come in late. And I do think she's going to get wherever she's going before her stuff, and it's going to create a problem. And it's potentially a problem that could have been avoided. It could be something like she could have brought minor things with her, like pillows and a blanket, and chose not to. Or packed it away with all of her crap and sent it with her stuff. So I think I've talked to these to death, and I'm certainly done coughing. I'm not enjoying that at all. So I'm going to take this one down and edit it. And if you have made it this far in the rune reading, go ahead and put is there a box emoji? A box or a semi emoji, because we're going to be moving. We're boxing our crap up and we're moving on a truck. So a box or a truck emoji down in the comment section. Feel free to ask if there's something I need to clarify. I will definitely give it a shot. And if you have a different interpretation, I know a couple of you have mentioned that you are familiar with the runes. Feel free. I'm always here to listen. That doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you. I just am always open to listen, because sometimes I hear things that I'm like, Also, if you're not familiar with the runes, feel free to give it a shot. You know, it's a free world. And don't forget to hit the like button, because these are going to be graciously opened back up to the subscriber base. I did discuss this with my members. They get first shot at this, and then the members, the rest of the subscribers get a shot at it after that. So I think that was very nice of them, and I appreciate that they went along with my idea. So that's going to be it. Go ahead and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to put down an emoji, and I will see you in the next video.